Am I the asshole for saying no to my girlfriend's tradition? Throwaway account. I, male 30, lost my younger brother when I was 22. He had cancer and fought very hard. Ever since, I've been donating blood on the anniversary of his death every year. I take the day off from work, visit his grave, donate blood, and then come home, relax, and watch his favorite movie. I know it's a simple personal tradition, but it means a lot to me. My girlfriend of 9 months, Anna, female, 31, asked if I could meet her and her mom. I met her many times, and it wasn't that I needed to meet the parents for the first time situation, for lunch yesterday. I told her no and explained again about what I do on my brother's death anniversary. She got upset and said, well, it's my tradition to have lunch with my mom every time she's in town, and she really wanted to see you. You can do your stupid blood donation tradition any day. I explained to her that it's not just about the blood donation. Later in the evening, while I was resting and watching my brother's favorite movie, she texted me again, asking me to join them. I reiterated that I really didn't want to and would hang out with her mom next time. She replied that I had embarrassed her in front of her mom with my selfishness and laziness. Since then, she's been distant. Do I owe her an apology? Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to bow my head in silence while my friend says her prayers out for dinner? Help me out here, let me know if I'm in the wrong or not. Partner is furious at me because I refused to bow my head down in silence for the 10-15 seconds when a friend wanted to say her prayers before dinner. I'm an atheist. Her friend is a Christian. We're all going out to a restaurant. Apparently, before her friend eats, she silently bows her head down and says a prayer. Partner is expecting me to not eat, stay quiet, bow my head down, and wait until she finishes her prayers. She says I'm being disrespectful. I'm trying to say that her friend interrupting the whole table when food is ready, just so she prays, while expecting us to all join in with the silence, is disrespectful. She is welcome to pray, but don't take offense if we choose not to join. The table has many different faiths, and lack thereof. Respect should go both ways. Besides, there's nothing stopping her from just saying what she wants to say in her head without the interruption. Fair enough if this were a your house, your rules type of situation, but we're out in a public restaurant, and that aside, respect should go both ways. So tell me, am I the asshole for being arrogant and selfish, or is this being blown way out of proportion? Am I the asshole for kicking my brother out of my wedding for making my fiancé cry? Throwaway because this is blowing up in my family and I don't want them all finding this. My wedding was this past weekend, and I'm honestly still in shock over what happened. My fiancé, now wife, and I have been together for 7 years. We've gone through everything together, moving in, job losses, her battle with anxiety, everything. So our wedding day was supposed to be our day to finally celebrate all that, right? Well, it was, until my brother decided to ruin it. For context, my brother, 30 male, has always had a weird thing about pranks. He calls them jokes, but honestly, they've always been mean-spirited and embarrassing. Growing up, I'd laugh it off or get mad, and he'd say I was just being too sensitive. But this time, it went way too far. During our reception, he got up to give a speech. I thought it would be nice, maybe he'd say something heartfelt for once. But no, instead, he pulls out a fucking slideshow of hilarious photos of my wife, old ones from her Instagram where she's crying, looking vulnerable, or just super unflattering. And he started making jokes about her weight fluctuations, saying how she used to look like a twig when we first started dating and now she's more well-fed. My wife's face turned white. She started crying quietly, and my brother, he just kept going, laughing like he was the funniest guy on the planet. The whole room was dead silent. I saw red. I stood up, walked right over to him, and told him to leave, right in the middle of this speech. I said he was done, and I didn't care if he was my brother. My wife was humiliated. He tried to brush it off, saying I was ruining the fun and that everyone else thought it was funny. No one laughed. Not one person. He refused to leave at first, so I told security to get him out. He stormed out, calling me a fucking drama queen. Now my parents are furious with me for embarrassing my brother at my own wedding. They think that I overreacted, that I should have let it slide because he didn't mean it. My mom even said my wife was overreacting too, and that this was all just part of his sense of humor. My wife hasn't stopped crying since. I told my family we're taking a break from them, but now my phone is blowing up with texts from my mom and dad saying I've fractured the family and ruined my own wedding over a joke. I get that I blew up, but I couldn't stand seeing my wife so hurt. Did I go too far? Am I the asshole? This guy sounds like Michael Scott from The Office. Am I the asshole for kicking my parent out and saying this is why I was so fucked up as a kid? I had my parents over for dinner this weekend. They are in their 60s, after my daughter, who is 10, asked if she could play us a song she had been practicing on her keyboard. She gets lessons. It wasn't perfect. She missed a few notes, a couple pauses, but overall, she did really well. She looked up at the end, massive smile, and I started clapping and my parents started fucking laughing. Not just a little chuckle, a massive fucking belly laugh. Both of them. My mom asked if it was her first time playing it, and my dad said it had to have been. A dog could have played that better. It was like my daughter was shrinking on the spot and she looked down and said, "No, I've had 2 lessons, but doing it with 2 hands is hard." And then they just laughed even harder. I just stood up, took their cups, and said, "Leave. Now." My mom tried to say about how they hadn't finished their drinks and they wanted to hear another song, and I said, get your stuff and get the fuck out of my house right now. My dad started doing this huffing thing he does when someone dares to speak up to him, and my mom said that there was no need to be like this, that I can't protect her all the time and she's preparing my daughter for the real world. They got all their stuff and left. I sat with my daughter and explained how proud of her I was and how well she was doing. To ignore them, they were just being cruel because they didn't know any other way to be, and asked if she could please play it again, which she did. On Sunday I messaged and said that until they can behave like decent human beings that we're taking a break away from them. My dad replied that it was my choice, but he didn't realize he raised me to be so precious. Now my lovely brown-nosing golden child of a sister is getting involved. She phoned me today with my parents' version of events and should never speak to my parents that way. That I'm repping my child in cotton wool and blah blah blah. I just told her to go fuck herself and I hung up. I'm not asking if I'm in the wrong for standing up for my daughter. I'll always do that. But I did go from 0 to 100. I kicked them out straight away. I swore at them and in front of my daughter. I did raise my voice at the end when I said to leave. I was and still am angry. I don't think I'd even accept an apology from them at this point. This behavior isn't new, it's decades old. But this is the first time it affected my daughter. Did I go too far? Did I react too much? Should I have tried to be calmer? Talk it out? I don't know. Am I the asshole? Edit. Lots of people seem to think that I'm a mom. Nope, I'm a single dad. Also, thank you for all the comments. Definitely calming the anger I felt and making me feel less shitty for the way I reacted. I never doubted I was in the right for standing up for my daughter, just how I went about it. I'm gonna sit and talk with my daughter about it. My parents and sister can just disappear for all I care right now. To all the commenters that said that they wish they had someone like me when they were younger, I get it, man. I really do. I hope you got someone now or are able to be that someone. Reading all these comments definitely changed my anger into sadness and realization that I'm not alone with shitty parents.